Welcome to
Current Density with
Jayden, where we break down the past, present, and the future of technology, warfare, and global conflicts. I'm your host, Charlie, and in each episode, we take a deep dive into how innovation and strategy shape the world we live in. Today, we're exploring a topic that has defined human history, the evolution of warfare, from sword to cyber attacks. So from the brutal close combat battles of ancient world to the rise of drones and cyber warfare. So we'll be discussing how the battlefield has transformed over the centuries and what the wars of the future might look like. So with me today is Jayden.
Hello.
Hi. So who's here to share his insights on the ever-changing nature of war. So we'll be comparing ancient tactics with the modern military strategies, discussing the role of AI and the cyber warfare, and even speculating on what a future world war could look like. Jayden, are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. So, Jayden, let's talk about the changing nature of war. So, warfare has evolved drastically over centuries. So, what do you think are the biggest difference between ancient warfare and modern warfare?
So the biggest difference between ancient and modern warfare boils down to the technology and the scope. So ancient battles were largely, face to face with warriors engaging in brutal close combat with swords, spears, and bows. They were fought on open fields or within walled cities or like strategic terrain, right? You had to get like high above a hill to see what your enemy is doing, and that was very, very important. Today, warfare is often conducted remotely with ICBM missiles, drones, and cyber attacks launched from thousands of miles away. The battlefield has expanded into space and cyberspace, making geography less of like a limiting factor. Moreover, modern warfare prioritizes intelligence and logistics and like the psychological operations, as well as physical strength.
Oh, that's a great point. So the shift from hand-to-hand combat to remote warfare has fundamentally changed the way conflicts are fought. And that brings us to our next question, strategy. So with all these technology advancement, do we still need the same level of strategy thinking as before?
So strategy absolutely remains as crucial as ever, although its applications may have evolved. In ancient times, generals focused on like formations, like the phalanx or cavalry charges to maneuver the enemies out. Today, the strategy encompasses a lot more elements, from how cyber operations would work to electronic and economic sanctions, since we're in like a more globalized, connected world. And also a lot of AI would be involved in decision making, while modern wars rely more on technology and intelligence gathering. But the core principles of strategy, knowing your enemy through and through, leveraging advantages you might have, and adapting to new threats as they come, they're just as vital as they were in the ancient times, right? So in the complexity of modern warfare, requires an even greater level and a more broad sort of like macro analysis of strategic thinking.
That's interesting. So while technology has changed, the core principle of strategy remain the same, right? Adaptation, intelligence, and outmaneuvering the enemy. So speaking of game-changing innovation, one of the biggest turning points in military history was the introduction of gunpowder, right? So the invention of gunpowder changed the battlefield forever, making swords and bows nearly obsolete. So what historical period do you think saw the the most dramatic shift in warfare technology?
Yeah, they say never bring a sword to a gunfight, right? So the widespread use of firearms was in the early modern period from the late 15th to about the 17th century. The introduction of muskets and cannons became made traditional like knightly armor pretty much useless and ended the dominance of medieval castles. So battles became less about individual skill with a sword and more about how do you coordinate all of these cannons and how do you fire towards the enemy. The Napoleonic Wars further revolutionized tactics with the mass conscription and large-scale maneuver warfare, but the biggest leap came with the Industrial Revolution, which introduced rapid-fire weapons and mechanized warfare. So it used to take a lot of time to load and reload cannons, right?
Yeah.
But the Industrial Revolution automated many of those processes, so that sort of, forever changed the paradigm of like how wars were fight.
Exactly. So the introduction of firearms not only changed how battles were fought, but also transformed the military tactics and defense system. So fast forward to today, and we have another technological breakthrough, drones. So let's talk about the impact of drones on the battlefield. So drones have become a game changer in modern conflicts. How do you think drone warfare compares to traditional aerial combat? And do you see any ethical concerns with their use?
Yeah, so drones, are automated like air vehicles, right? In previous like major wars involving planes, like World War I and II, it was usually what they call a dogfight, right? People are on the fighter planes and they're battling very, very close to each other. Planes were also used to carry bombs and drop bombs on targets, like, the Enola Gay dropped the atomic bomb on Japan during World War II. And unlike traditional aerial combat, which requires highly trained pilots in those fighter jets, right? They don't fly themselves. But drones allow for continuous surveillance and targeted attacks without risking human lives, right? On the operator's side. Drones do also, raise some serious ethical concerns, such as the potential for indiscriminate strikes, collateral damage, and the psychological detachment of war. A lot of the decisions, so there's like this whole like ethical dilemma on should computers be made to authorize the final decision, or should a human make the final push of a button that like drops a bomb or launches a missile, right? Like a lot of AI vision systems can, very accurately identify targets and know where to shoot and like considers all these strategies. But if for some reason the computer got it wrong and it just keeps firing and making mistakes, should we allow the computer to 100% think for itself, right? Or should we have a person that checks through every step of the process and like make the final decision to fire or not? So that is an ongoing, very famous ethical dilemma we have on drones and automation, that kind of sorts.
That's a valid concern. The ability to strike from thousands of miles away without direct human risk changes the ethical landscape of war. And that brings us to another invisible but equally powerful battlefield, cyberspace. So in today's world, hacking and cyber attacks can be as damaging as physical attacks. How do you think cyber warfare has changed the way nations defend themselves? And is it more dangerous than conventional war?
Yeah, so cyber warfare has, again, transformed national defense, and it shifted the focus from physical borders to also digital ones. A well-executed cyber attack can really destroy infrastructure and disrupt economies and influence political outcomes. You know the story that happened like a day ago, 2 days ago, right? North Korean hackers
Oh, yes.
stole $1.5 billion worth of Ethereum.
Oh, yeah. The, like the digital coin, right?
Yeah,
Digital
cryptocurrency.
currency. Yeah.
So that was a big shock to the world. I think it was a company called Bybit. They hacked it through that system. I believe the way that they hacked it was they intercepted regular transfers that happened within the company servers. Like the company regularly distributes the money to like different accounts and such, but they managed to get into that system and steal all the transfers. So although almost all of the North Korean ordinary masses, they do not have access to internet. It looks like the 1950s whenever we see footage from down there. But it just I guess all the top, I don't know, top 0 point something percent, right? The top people, they're really, really militarily and technologically advanced, those top military ranking people. They hire they grow, they foster the smartest people, and they all work on disrupting and hacking away at the world's different major systems. And I also believe that when Russia was fighting with Ukraine, they played with the country's power grid through attacks to that system. So all of this makes cyber warfare potentially more dangerous than conventional war because it allows nations to inflict damage, pretty much anonymously. A lot of the hacking into government databases and such are made by pretty much anonymous groups, and they really can't. It's going to be a really hard effort to try and trace where that attack came from, and that happens without a single bullet being fired. Countries now invest heavily in cybersecurity, and the next major conflict might not start with a missile launch, but with a massive cyber attack, maybe on the power grid, financial systems, or government networks.
Yeah.
So that's a very vital system to keep an eye on, especially with the rapid development of technology.
Yeah, so it's a chilling reality. It's a major cyber attack could cripple a nation without a single missile being fired. So, but beyond cyberspace, the AI is also reshaping the future of warfares. So, with AI being used for autonomous weapons and surveillance, do you think we're heading towards war fought entirely by machine? Or could AI one day replace human soldiers altogether?
Yeah, so AI is rapidly changing warfare from autonomous drones to AI-driven intelligence analysis. So in the war in Ukraine, I think in recent months, they shifted the strategy and decided to use single-use drones.
Oh,
Yeah,
single-use drones.
Single-use drones.
Like a disposable?
Sort of. They would carry a explosive device. They would hit the target and then, it would be gone, but it would have exploded.
Yeah.
And it turns out that would be cheaper to manufacture, and that would be more efficient than trying to drop something and then have the aircraft come back. While machines can reduce the risks to human soldiers, obviously the idea of a fully automated system, a fully automated system, would raise concerns. Could AI misinterpret a situation and make the wrong target, mark the wrong target? Would nations be more willing to go to war if machines bear the brunt of the fighting? Right, you just type in a couple commands and that's it. You've bombed someone. Would the main use of AI right now is data analysis, right? AI is very good at synthesizing synthesizing data and drawing conclusions from very, very large amounts of data. So when a war happens, if you weren't using AI, you would have to work with a group of hundreds of people who are all scouring through footage. They have to analyze all the land. They have to analyze how many supplies do we have, what do we need to send out, what formation should we use, all of that. And that takes a lot of time because humans need coordination. They need to work out the problems themselves. That's not going to be done in an instant, but with AI, it is done in an instant, almost. AI is very good at drawing conclusions from very, very large amounts of data. In modern war, that's going to be a ton of data, right? Because you're not fighting in like one city or one part of the land. It's going to be a dimensional, huge operation to consider. So while AI will undoubtedly play a bigger role in the future, the complete replacement of human soldiers, I think, is unlikely until we can figure out to develop machines that can think strategically and ethically, which is really hard to do, right? Like, I don't think many people could really agree on what the ethics on AI should be, right? There's no standard, like, international, like, kind of law right now.
Yes. So have you watched the movie RoboCop? Do you know what that is?
I haven't heard of it.
Oh, the RoboCop is kind of really famous, like a science fiction movie. But one of the police officer got killed by the bad guys, and then the only part of his body survived as his brain.
So his brain was intact, but like
yes. So the only brain was survived.
Yeah.
So the some facility like a lab made him robot. But
so like they took his brain and put it inside like a robot. So
yes.
He could think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's RoboCop.
Okay.
RoboCop. So, but he lost his memories, obviously, and then the department can operate him as their asset. So they can turn him on or turn him off.
Oh, okay. So he has like no free
will. No freedom.
Oh.
And but he is robot. So like it's like a whole his body that's bulletproof and everything.
Yeah.
So even though he lost his arm, he can replaceable, right? So when the movie was released, the people think like, oh, that's a really maybe the solution, like for the future crime or war. But still, we don't have that.
Yeah.
I think we have the technology to build that kind of robo-cops.
Maybe like like Tesla, the Tesla robot
humanoid
robot.
Yeah, humanoid robots. What's the name of it? Is
I think it's just like a Tesla bot. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Like I saw the demos. Like when was it? Was it like a year ago that they first announced it? Maybe it was a couple of years ago, but
it was for the house chores, right? The first model is for the house chores, no?
It could literally like do anything you want. well, I guess it can walk. It can sprint. It can carry things. But yeah, I think we have the sufficient technology to at least like generate like a first generation model. I think.
So, that's a big ethical dilemma. Someone's brain. If you put someone's brain into robot, is it still okay? That's the ethical dilemma. So if AI takes over, we still have control over war, or will war control us? Or not the way war is felt without direct combat is through psychological warfare. So, in the past, psychological warfare involves propaganda, intimidation, and deception tactics. How do you think social media and misinformation campaign have taken psychological warfare to a new level?
Yeah, so, in wars of the past, propaganda, deception, like intimidation, those were all methods of psychological warfare. Um, Genghis Khan had, fake retreats to knock off the enemy off guard. And Julius Caesar had exaggerated battle reports, so it made him look even greater, I guess. Today, social media has taken that role of psychological warfare, and I think it is more important than any other period in history. Disinformation campaigns, there's deep fake videos, right? They're getting way better. A year ago, if you searched for Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? That's like the famous benchmark for video generation models. It looked horrendous, but even like a year from that, when that happened, right now, it's very, very realistic, and you can't tell that it's fake from first glance. OpenAI has their Sora video model. A lot of AI companies are trying to do that, and deep faking voices have been used in tons of scam calls, and people lost a lot of money, even their life savings, because they thought it was their child
or
their
family
family member. Please send me money. I got into a car accident, whatever. So the use of AI plus social media. Social media, almost everyone has a social media app installed right now, right? Everyone has their phone. Facebook is also popular within the more older demographic age group. And these campaigns and algorithm-driven propaganda can really strongly influence public perception, and they also influence elections.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes, elections.
I feel there's a lot of I read about it in the New York Times. There's a right-wing conservative focused social media network
on TikTok.
No, it's called.
Oh, they have their own.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, a lot of people said that that is their primary source of media, and obviously that aside from your political views, that is not a great way to consume media, right? You want to understand and take in the news as nonpartisan and as neutral as possible.
Exactly.
Right? And that's kind of concerning, because it's confirmation bias and these thought bubbles. The algorithms on Instagram, I think I talked about this in our advertising unit. Yeah. They really, if you start lingering on what you watch for a couple of seconds on a specific topic, they're going to recommend more and more of that topic. I can see the algorithm working, literally. And not everyone understands how the algorithm works, and what they keep seeing is going to confirm their pre-existing beliefs. Not all of them may be true or morally or ethically correct, but that's not an issue to the social media algorithm, which wants you to stay on the app as much as possible.
Yeah, so one of the CEO from Instagram, I don't know his name, but he said in the public, he said the hashtag does not work anymore. It's not just, it's nothing now. Hashtag doesn't work in social media algorithm. It's totally different. As just like you said, it's based on what you consume on the screen. So that's why short form video is going to viral as much as before we used hashtag.
Yeah, so I think that's a really concerning part, especially in our modern day society. People are losing trust in mainstream media, I feel like.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
people can be confused which is
Yeah.
real mainstream, even they are
Yeah, so
really
like
real like that, right?
we need to be more cautious than ever what we like find on the internet. We need to cross-check it. The White House banned the Associated Press, right? They banned AP because they refused to like change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America in their reporting. And I believe the White House press conferences, they're allowing more like independent like social media influencers, and they can sign up to like be in that press conference as well.
Yes.
So that just tells us that like these social media influencers, they are a growing medium to get everyday news, right? And we need to be as cautious as possible whenever we're consuming any type of media to make sure that we aren't just reading something that might influence us or bias us in a certain direction. Yeah.
And the influencers that have the access to the White House press room, they even have the right to ask a question. Right. So if the White House treat them just like as a normal mainstream, press, right? So it's kind of very sensitive issue. So the battle for hearts and mind has moved to digital world, but while deception tactics have evolved, so have defense mechanism.
Oh yeah. I found the name. It's called Rumble.
Oh, Rumble.
Rumble, yeah. It's an article from the New York Times called I Traded My News Apps for Rumble, the right-wing YouTube. So it's like, I guess...
So it's a
equivalent.
video platform?
It's a video platform. A lot of people do like podcasts on it, like a video podcast. Yeah, so like, this is an example of like, it's not like mainstream centralized, like famous news outlets or like these big companies anymore,
Okay.
People like independent, creators, like YouTube creators. They're becoming more prevalent in how people gain their news and information.
So, who runs Rumble then?
I think it's a Canadian company that originally made it, founded it. Chris Pavlovsky.
Chris Pavlovsky, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's Russian. Okay. Oh, wow. Rumble. Okay. Let's switching the gear. So ancient civilization built fortresses and wall cities for protection. So today, countries invest in missile defense system and cybersecurity. So do you think digital defense is now more important than the physical defense?
Yeah, so I believe that it is a very, very significant factor when it comes to our like defense systems today. Of course, you want your borders to be tight and secure, but with so many of like the people on the internet, there's a lot of valuable information and private information lingering on the web. Modern nations rely on firewalls, encryptions, and missile defense systems. That's all coded in, right? So the shift from physical to digital defense is significant. It's a well-coordinated cyber attack. It only takes a couple megabytes of code to bring down a system, right?
Oh.
Yeah. and that can, shut down the entire country's infrastructure. We rely on technology. The military relies on technology. The government relies on technology. If that technology stops working, then we all panic.
Yes.
And everything is going to
Stall.
descend into chaos, basically. Since we rely it as our, it's like a core foundation now. We can't go on without our daily lives without the supported, infrastructure, technological infrastructure. Physical defense obviously isn't obsolete. Underground bunkers, I believe there's a whole presidential, the second Pentagon, the second White House, it's buried inside a mountain.
Oh. In Maryland?
Raven Rock Mountain Complex. It's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. So it's right next to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all the military leaders, if World War III breaks out, they're going to flee to this bunker. There's a whole food supply and reservoirs and tunnels.
Okay.
So there's also a bowling alley. Cool. So they can all camp out in that fortress embedded inside a mountain. So obviously we need to care about, physical stuff.
Yes.
But digital infrastructure is also a tremendously important part of a nation's identity, and their national security. So a country without, strong cybersecurity is, I think, arguably more vulnerable than one without a standing army. Yeah. Since, people used to fight physical battles all the time in ancient history. But now I think a lot of people gained some moral values not to physically harm and attack people. But all this technology is quite relatively new, right? The internet was first live on 1983.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that old.
Well, yeah,
it's not that old.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the official birthday of the internet. So all of this cyber warfare, hacking systems, it's a relatively new and rapidly developing technology, and defense systems should match that pace, obviously. Yeah, I think it's quite an important.
So when it comes to the defense system, like a cybersecurity system, I think I was is forced conscription no longer necessary? Like a mandatory, military service, like Korea or the other countries, or even some countries still have their own defense system by having forced conscription.
Yeah.
So, but if you like me, so I served my country for 2 years, but I didn't have any.
Oh yeah, were you in the Air Force or?
No, I was in Army.
In the Army.
I was in the Army, but what I did is was not related to any cyber attack or anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, do we really need this at this point?
Well.
So
I think in Korea, right, the war technically is still going on because the peace treaty wasn't signed by all sides. I think most governments nowadays have a dedicated department for cybersecurity.
Exactly.
Because it's a very, very different nature. You need a strong set of technological coding, programming, that kind of stuff, skills to deal with that. But with we have nuclear weapons everywhere. There's missiles everywhere. So we just can't ignore the physical threat as well, of course.
Exactly.
So especially for South Korea, where technically war could break out any time.
Exactly.
Although it's I personally think it would be better for me not to serve in the military because I'm kind of I don't really like that physical kind of stuff.
So, but my question here, if you can serve the country
Yeah.
as a cyber military defense department
Okay.
like that, would you
Would
you
I?
would you?
Probably I would take that over, being on the actual, grounds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes, this sounds kind of interesting. So have you watched the movie Eagle Eye?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't watch a lot of movies.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So, but it's fine. So Eagle Eye is about the cyber attack by using so AI system, and then Eagle Eye watches everything in the world, even in a single town in a mountain area, and then they launched a missile
Yeah.
based on the information.
Okay.
But it is operated by the human, but AI, is self-learning system,
Yeah.
and then it ignores the human order, and then
Oh.
it launches the missile by
Itself.
itself. So
Like-
it's kind of so creepy when it was. But the movie was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of people, consider that.
Yeah.
Is it a paradox? Like a lot of people say that. Like, can AI completely go like sentient and suddenly ignore all human orders? Is that even possible? Because like AI systems, right? Artificial intelligence. We basically like don't understand what's going on inside. It's kind of like they call it a black box. We don't know how it works. It's a series. At its core, it's a series of matrix multiplications. So you have a list of numbers, and then you do stuff to those numbers, and then it's a really complicated mathematical process that does stuff, and then it just spits out something on the other end, right? But even people who research that really don't know what it's doing in the scenes because it's retuning itself. So it's adjusting its they call it weights and biases. It's just the coefficients of the matrices that they're multiplying with. And to be honest, I don't think the machine's adjusting itself, and we don't know really what's going on in there. We just know that we put in some data, and it generates output to that data. So that's a really burning question. Can AI really go that far? Can it turn itself on humans?
So great insight. So without cybersecurity, the country's infrastructure is obviously vulnerable. So no matter how strong its military is. Now, let's talk about the future. Where do you think warfare is headed next?
So, future wars, I hope there won't be, a major, a war outbreak in the future,
Like a World War III?
Yeah, I hope that never happens
No,
because,
no. That's no.
there's a lot of conflicts going on right now. There's still Russia versus Ukraine, Israel,
Syria?
Gaza,
Yeah.
and a lot of scuffles we don't see on mainstream media. I think there's a lot of unstable regions. There's Taiwan, China, South China Sea. Who owns it? Where are the boundaries? Another method of propaganda is actually maps that they educate to people.
Oh yeah,
and
that's a good point.
Dokdo,
Yeah,
Japan and China.
Japan claimed their island as Takeshima.
Yeah,
as
although there's
yeah.
historical, geographical evidence that it does truly belong to South Korea. So education is definitely where propaganda can spread, and it is essential to independently review the education curriculum and system to make sure that you're getting taught fair, neutral values, and you know how to discern false and misleading information. Some countries draw borders differently on purpose, and it's actually really hard to get the borders right. Google Maps has some border controversies, I think, in certain regions. It just shows that global conflict between countries also extend into geographical data that we see and we understand to be true, right? We rarely question Google Maps, right? It's just we look it up and okay, so it's there. Yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah, on Google.
Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure. I think technology companies should especially be aware that they do need to acknowledge that there's a lot of there could be a lot of misleading people or data that they could unintentionally spread by including that misleading data in their services. Future wars are likely to be fought across multiple domains. I think cyberspace that's only going to get bigger. I think cryptocurrency, more stuff are going to be stored electronically, which means more people will try to get information out of that by hacking those electronic systems. Outer space. Now we're trying to get to Mars apparently, and the moon. Now this is probably a far off future, but if we ever colonize on those outer planets, there might be wars in outer space.
So to take the territory,
to conquer territory, I guess that would be the main reason why. So we have to be very, very careful because there's a lot of far-ranging opinions and we don't all agree with each other. But we want to prevent these huge conflicts from happening as much as possible. Cyber attacks really could impair and shut down entire nations. And, the realm of AI, AI-powered defense systems could, make many countries automatically at a disadvantage, a huge disadvantage. If World War III happens, which I really hope it doesn't happen, but a hypothetical scenario could involve a hybrid mix of cyber economic AI warfare, and we can't rule out the use of nuclear weapons. We kind of all agree right now that no, we would not like to fire nuclear weapons because if one country does, then other
every
countries
country
will, and will basically wipe out the human race on the planet, and that would not be good to anyone on the planet. But the fact is, we still have all of these thousands of nuclear warheads active in the ground, waiting to be fired. So traditional military engagements could be more of a secondary thing to the real technological and intelligence-based battles. Humans are getting smarter. A more connected world means that if a conflict arises, it's going to impact more places, and it's going to impact things that we would have not thought it would impact. Nuclear weapons. I don't know. I guess the pros of having nuclear weapons is deterring physical warfare in the first place, because just the fear of having nuclear warfare is too much. But I don't know, that itself is a really huge ethical dilemma. Should we start dismantling all the nuclear weapons? A lot of countries do not agree on that. The future of wars may be fought silently and without publicly declaring one.
Oh, okay.
We're going to invade Poland. There might not be, a huge announcement.
Very
subtle.
subtle. Okay.
I don't know. I think we should use technology to unify people, and technology should be used to bring everyone together, because no one really benefits from a full-scale war.
No.
People die.
No.
Our morale and our view on human society deteriorates whenever we see fighting.
And so actually, the last weekend, it was Sunday, I watched the movie The Lee. the movie was about the photographer Lee Miller. She took a lot of aftermath pictures from World War II.
Yeah.
So she was working for Vogue magazine and in French division, and then her picture was not released in France. But after that, the America Vogue magazine released her picture with the title, kind of the real reality reality of the war.
Yeah.
So it was, after I watched that movie, I felt like, oh my God, the World War III will never happen, because the picture, I never seen the war picture like that before. It was so disastrous,
devastating.
and devastating, and it was so. I was so scared, actually.
Yeah, I think here's the thing: if you're a dictator who's relentless on attacking a country for whatever your personal reasons are, and now technology enables us to basically do remote work from home, launch missiles, and coordinate, autonomous attacks. I really think that it would enable them to do those things more easily. And how the public would see it is, if that's not happening to us, then it's like, it's their problem. The crisis right now is bad enough already. But we can never fully understand what the actual emotions are down there. But we, as society, we really need to understand that conflict and war and battles are not the way forward, right? We need to work together to make new advancements. During the relatively short time each one of us are here, right? We don't want to live in a world full of, destruction, misery, and resentment. I think we really need to cooperate with each other and make sure that our future generations can experience, a world that is at least slightly better than what we've experienced and what we are left with right now.
So my last question of today's episode: so with all these technological advancement, so warfare has become more remote and detached from the battlefield. So do you think removing humans from act of killing makes war easier to wage, and does that making more dangerous?
Yeah, so we talked a lot about this already. Drones, cyber attacks, AI-powered weapons. It really feels like a video game, to be honest. If you're like in the real situation, everything's up in screens. You got like numbers and data flowing everywhere. It allows nations to wage war with minimal human casualties on their side. It might, but this might also make war easier to justify. If leaders don't have to worry about sending their soldiers to die, they may be more willing to engage in conflicts, especially with a country that might not be as technologically advanced. The detachment from human cost of war I think it's dangerous. Almost all humans value human life.
Exactly.
At least I hope all humans do, but it seems like some don't. But and it kind of, if everything is automated, it risks like normalizing violence and reducing accountability to starting, a horrendous war. While technological advancements can make warfare more precise and maybe even like last shorter, but they raise difficult moral questions about the future of human conflict. Is this are we doing the right thing with technology, right? So since like AI and all of this like robots and humanoids come out, every time we're asking the question, how is this going to be misused, right? And how might it negatively affect us? And those are questions that we should be asking and questions that we should, be actively fighting for so it doesn't happen. Humanity should be progressing towards positively, like
Exactly.
right. It should be progressing so like we have a better future ahead of us, not the other way around where we're leading ourselves to destruction. I wonder if sometimes who's more likely to survive, a bunch of smart beings or just like a bunch of people, not people, like just like, I don't know, creatures that, just eat and eat to survive. If we have like that low intelligence beings on planet Earth, I think they would survive. Like there won't be like major issues.
Exactly.
Everybody's just like, every creature will be like eating and just minding their own business. Humans have large brains, right? We don't have sharp claws. We can't run very fast. So we used our brain to basically, dominate
The world.
much of the world, basically. But that is a double-edged sword, right? We also have the capability of thinking and designing mechanisms and technology that will one day may destroy our civilization. So as much as we advance in newer technologies, it is extremely important, I think, to look frankly at the other side of the sword, the other edge of the sword, and devise a solution together so that we use our brain and our, wit for the better good of human race. Yeah.
So that's a thought-provoking point. As work becomes more detached, the consequences become harder to grasp. But one thing remains unchanged: war, in any form, has lasting effect on humanity. So that was an eye-opening discussion on evolution of warfare. Jayden, thank you so much for your insight, and it's fascinating to see how war has changed and where it might be heading.
Yeah, thanks for talking with me. This was a great conversation.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow Current Density with Jayden. For more discussion on technology, warfare, and the world we live in. We love hearing your thoughts, so feel free to share your opinion and continue the conversation with us on social media.
If you found this discussion thought-provoking, consider leaving a review or sharing this episode with a friend who is interested in history, technology, or global affairs. Your support helps us bring more in-depth discussions to you. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep exploring the ever-changing world around us. Bye.
Bye.